So I approached this really good-looking young guy. I said, excuse me, what time does this concert start? I thought it was supposed to start at 10 o'clock. He said, well, it's supposed to start at 10, but technically, my Uncle Phil isn't scheduled to be out on stage till 10:15. I said, Uncle Phil? As in Philip Bailey, the lead singer of Earth, Wind & Fire. He said, yeah, that's my uncle. Why, are you in the business? I said, no, I'm a motivational speaker. He said, can you motivate me? Yes, I can. So I started giving him some of my favorite lines, and I had just written my book, Whose Comfort Zone Are You In? So I was talking about writing down your goals, taking 20 minutes, writing down 101 goals, and believing in your goals and overcoming your obstacles. And he said, wow, you're really good, but I have to go take my seat. I said, where are you sitting? He said, down in front. Where are you sitting? I said, okay, see that section way at the top? He said, who are you here with? I said, my 2 girlfriends. He said, wait right here. He runs backstage, and he comes back with 3 all-access badges. He said, you can sit anywhere you want and meet me right here after the show. I'll take you backstage, introduce you to my uncle, the rest of the band. And I'm like, yes! So I go running back up to my girlfriends. I said, hey! They're like, Marilyn, where have you been? These people tried to steal our seats.
My experience has been, most people take their seat, they don't like it, and they complain. These seats suck. Have you noticed that? People that don't like their seat in life, they complain about it. And then if they're really negative and sarcastic and not in the front row, what they do is they start to look at the people down in front. How'd they get that job? How'd they get that promotion? Oh, why is she there? And that negative energy has absolutely no place at Coke. You see a woman who got a promotion, you say, you go, girl, how'd you do it? You see someone that gets a choice team position, you say, you go, girl, how'd you do it? You don't sit back and start making stuff up how she got it. You find your way to say, what did you do that worked for you, and what can I do to make it work for me? That's the essence of having a front row seat. It's not about jealousy or resentment. You go out and get your own seat. So that you got to act on it, though. You got to act on your vision.
In fact, I get a lot of my material even on my way to a speaking engagement. Last year, I was speaking in Orlando, Florida, and I got out of my comfort zone, and I shared a cab with a guy, and we're on our way to the hotel. It's about 35 minutes away. And he said, so what brings you to Orlando? I said, well, I'm speaking at this really big women's conference. And he said, I love big women. I said, no. It's a large women's conference. He said, I love them large.
How many of you have a good sense of humor and you love to laugh? I hope so, because I want you to continue to find things that make you laugh, and learn how to take what you do seriously, but take yourself lightly. I mean, I take my job as a professional speaker very seriously, but I don't take myself seriously. I mean, I've made every mistake in a book, and if there was ever a book written on professional speaking, I've probably broken every one of the rules, because I mean, I used to have this overhead one time with the image of my presentation on the overhead, and one time, like, I spit on it, and I mean, everybody saw it. It was really, and then I tried to wipe it off. I mean, I remember one time in Alaska, I went up to Alaska, and I met a woman in Fairbanks who said, well, welcome to Alaska. There's so many men up here that the odds are really good. But I've lived here all my life, so I can honestly tell you that the goods are really odd. So I walk into my audience the next day, and they're all men. And I'm thinking, ooh, the odds are good, the goods are odd. The odds are good, the goods are odd. And I walked in, and I said, well, good morning, gentlemen. And the button on my blouse popped off. I mean, now that's funny. I mean, of all places for me to expose myself, I do it in front of that audience who have not seen that in a while.
Did any of you notice what I did? What did my stage look like when I started my speech? It was a mess. We had chairs all over the place. And isn't that how life is? We've got our chairs all over the place. And I just gave you some simple strategies supported by some stories, and all of a sudden you realize I've created my own front row. Now, for me, being on this stage in front of you is my front row seat. But for some of you, you're not a spotlight person, you're more of a supportive person. For you, I would say, be the usher in helping other people get to their front row seat. Because when you go to a show, for example, in Las Vegas, there's always an usher, and what do they have? They have a flashlight, and they have knowledge. They look at your ticket, and they say, follow me. They know the most direct route to that seat. They help you avoid the areas you don't need to go to, and then they show you exactly where it is, quick and simple. You can be that kind of an usher. You can be supportive of other people to help them get to their front row seat in life. So being in a helper position is just as valuable a front row seat, being an usher, as being the person sitting in that seat. It's up to you. Your seat, any seat, can be a front row seat, depending on what your vision is for yourself. You know, I was sitting in Seattle one time with my niece on my lap. Little Haley, she was 9 years old. 4th of July weekend, and we're watching the fireworks. After the fireworks were over, little Haley and I were having this bonding moment. And she looked over her shoulder at me, and she said, Aunt Marilyn, tell me about your new book. Because my front row book, I had just finished the first draft, and I think she thought it was a children's book. So I thought, how do I articulate to a 9-year-old girl that life is lived in the front row? You don't have to settle for bad relationships. You don't have to settle for being in an environment where you don't feel respected and you don't feel included. You deserve a front row seat. You're such a special person. You deserve the best that life has to offer. You don't have to settle ever. You deserve a front row seat. But I didn't get that far. That's what I was thinking of, what I wanted to articulate to my niece. And I just started to articulate that, and she interrupted me. She looked over her shoulder and she said, Aunt Marilyn, I'm in the front row right now. I said, oh, Haley, that's good. You get it. It doesn't have to be the front row of a Laker game. It could be sitting on the lap of someone you love, having a connection with someone that means so much to you. That's a front row seat. She got it, and she's only 9 years old. I said, Haley, can I use that? She said, yeah. I said, it should be a bookend, which means it should be at the very beginning or it should be at the very end. So where should I put this little moment that we just had? Where should I put it? And she said, put it at the beginning and dedicate it to me too. So all I ask is that when you move to the front row seat in your life, all I ask is when you get there, save me a seat. Thank you all very much for being here.